commissioners and permanent secretaries on procurement processes to mitigate corruption and its consequences holding in Yola. Yusuf Jika is standing by at the venue of the event for details.
Dumarufentry said his administration has put in place measures of understanding the procurement process to mitigate corruption and its impending consequences. The governor revealed that he will not hesitate to reject memos which seek to plunge the state into bankruptcy, advising government officials to be prudent in handling the meager resources in the state. It asks ministries, departments, and agencies to ensure that all revenue generated through government are remitted through the Treasury Single Account (TSA).
Anyone who is found wanting in his or her capacity as a government officials will not only be shown the way out, but will be prosecuted. These are turbulent times.
The Secretary to the State Government, Barrister Awal Tukur, said the program was designed to equip the participants with requisite knowledge to handle issues of governance in the state. The retreat has as its theme consolidating on good governance, issues and perspective for Adamawa State in Yola. Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
And still staying with Yusuf Jika, who will now bring us up to speed on further happenings at the retreat on good governance in Yola. Go ahead, Yusuf.
Thank you, Ogo Chukuka. This is Yola, the Adamawa State capital. For the past 2 days, the policy makers and implementers, including the 24 newly appointed commissioners and 31 permanent secretaries, have been extensively engaged in a retreat to equip them with more knowledge on how to carry on government activities and programs for the greater benefit of the people of the state. While declaring the retreat open, Governor Ahmadu Umaru at the event charged the participants to key into the mission of the retreat and tax them that telling them that everyone found wanting mismanaging the state resources will not be condoned and that will be prosecuted decisively. Joining me to say more on the mission of the retreat is the Chief of Staff, Government House, Yola, Dr. Edgar Amos. Good evening, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Sir, can you tell us more on the mission of the retreat that was organized by the Adamawa State Government in conjunction with partners?
The main aim of the retreat is to consolidate on the gains of the last 4 years. The premise is that the last 4 years of the first tenure of the Fintiri administration has done well in terms of delivery of infrastructural facilities, in terms of inclusive governance, in terms of delivering dividends of democracy to the people. So the retreat is conceived to consolidate on those gains, especially given the fact that there are new members on the team. And then to also look at strategizing to ensure that we will deliver the dividends of democracy faster, we will be more impactful. Again, we also consider that we are in a dynamic society that is need to take advantage of newer developments. For example, take more advantage of ICT. We believe that increasing use of information and communication technology, or indeed technology generally, will enhance the efficiency of government, will enhance perhaps revenue generation, will enhance monitoring and evaluation of government policies and programs. Now, these are the things that have informed the organization of this retreat.
Sir, what are the recommendations reached at the end of the retreat?
The recommendations are that we need to be more innovative in policy conception, formulation, implementation, and evaluation. And then we also need to use a lot of data. There is a specific presentation on use of statistics. We believe that in formulating policies, you need data, reliable and verifiable data with which you can now plan. And then we also need to use technology. So there is a lot of, in terms of using technology to drive the governance process.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Speaking with me is the Chief of Staff, Government House, Yola, Dr. Edgar Amos. Over to you, Ogo Chukuka, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, and I must tell you, that was very impressive by the state government. And now moving on now, pipeline vandalism, illegal oil refinery, crude oil theft and kidnapping have drastically reduced in Bayelsa State following the renewed efforts by the Nigerian Army in collaboration with sister security agencies. General Officer Commanding 6th Division, Nigerian Army, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam remarked this at the flag-off of Operation Stillwater 3 in Bayelsa State. Major General Abdul Salam debunked the Army's alleged involvement in crude oil theft. Ebinimi Zemitiloe reports.
The flag-off of Operation Stillwaters 3 by the Bayelsa State Governor Doyo Diri is a clear indication of the partnership between the state government and the Nigerian Army towards sustaining the relative peace, security and economic well-being of the people and nation.
As this Yuletide season and the gubernatorial elections draw near in the state, it is hoped that all hands would be on deck to further consolidate and stabilize the peace that we currently enjoy.
General Officer Commanding 6th Division, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, noted that the Nigerian Army's renewed efforts in protecting national assets have restored peace and increased crude oil production. The General Officer Commanding debunked the alleged involvement of the Army in crude oil theft, describing it as a distraction.
Nigeria's oil output increased to 1.7 million barrels per day in this October, the highest for this year. And it clearly shows that those who accuse the Army of involvement in illegal bunkering are either not familiar with what is going on or are just out to tarnish the good image of the Nigerian Army.
Ebinimi Zitemiola, NTA News.
We now join Hingido in Lagos for more reports from that zone. Hingido, good evening.
Thank you, Ogochikuka. People living with Down syndrome can make meaningful contributions to the society if the enabling environment to unlock their talents is provided by relevant authorities. This is the thrust of a seminar put together by the Down Syndrome Foundation to advocate social inclusion for people living with the condition. Joel Pubola has the report.
Many parents who have children with Down syndrome are oblivious of how to cater for such children, and some even discriminate against them, which aids their isolation from the larger society. This seminar seeking inclusion for children with Down syndrome is a platform for a panel of experts, including parents who have nurtured children with this condition, to share their experiences, advocate support from government and relevant agencies to put a stop to the traumatic experience of children with Down syndrome.
It's extremely tough bringing up a child who has Down syndrome in a society such as ours. There are so many factors to consider. There's a health challenge, there's the educational challenge, and there's a societal challenge of acceptance and stigmatization.
President of the foundation and other speakers agree that awareness is germane, while investment in special education and care will help harness their potential.
None of them has ever been given any formal employment, not that they are not qualified. We had trained so many of them, but society still feels that they are not capable of doing anything, and that is the impression we want to change.
It's just to encourage them and to send a message that people living with Down syndrome are not people we can just neglect. They are people with special abilities.
This accurate choreographic display by children with Down syndrome is just one out of their innate talents. Impressed by their performance, dignitaries at the events joined them to show solidarity. Their condition has not dampened their hope.
I say so. I make makeup artist.
The consensus is for public enlightenment and advocacy for inclusion to continue. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Dangerous inherent in drug abuse formed the crux of a lecture and career talk organized by the leadership of Iyalo Day of Lagos, Chief Bintu Fatima Tinubu, for pupils and teaching staff of Zamraru Islamia Grammar School, Ibugbo, Ikorodu. Bolaji Akim completes the story.
According to the United Nations Population Fund, Nigeria has a youthful population and approximately 60% are below 30 years. The increasing level of drug abuse among this growing population calls for serious attention from every stakeholder. That is why the Matriarch Foundation is championing the campaign against drug abuse and use of illicit drugs.
We that are, there, we should try and do something to help these children. The way they are going is bad. We cannot open our eyes to see what they are doing now. To continue, we will have ourselves to blame.
Chief Superintendent of Narcotics, NDLEA, Dick Adoni, emphasized the dangers of using drugs without doctor's prescription and warned the pupils to stay away from any substance that can derail their future.
When we go about sensitizing, we believe that they are no longer ignorant of the consequences of drug and abuse.
The career talk would not have come at a better time as the pupils showed enthusiasm.
We should not abuse drugs, and that should go to other people in the world so that we make this country a good country. We should not mingle with those people abusing drugs, and we should not abuse the drugs.
Drug has deadly effects on us individuals.
There was presentation of school materials which include school bags and writing notebooks to the pupils by Iyalode of Lagos, Chief Bintu Fatima Tinubu. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Port Harcourt with Gabriel Amunike after this break.
Port Harcourt. After years of repeated outcry over the deplorable state of Eleme One axis of the East-West Road, commuters can now heave a sigh of relief as the federal government has commenced rehabilitation work on the road. Kingsley Maju reports that the repairs is coming shortly after the visit of the Minister for Works, Dave Umahi, to the site.
In the South-South region, it provides access to the One Deep Sea Port, the two refineries, Indorama Petrochemicals, Notorious Fertilizer Company, among other international oil and gas firms.
The road is expected to witness a total overhaul because from what we gathered the last time we interacted with officials of the ministry, we are reliably informed that the road will be expanded to enable it accommodate more traffic.
After the visit of the Minister of Works to assess the state of the road, the contractor has mobilized to site. Motorists who recall the hard times they passed through using the road are happy now that the work is ongoing.
Because of Bat Road, we are taking load from here to Kano, 700,000 naira. But now because how the road spoil, if you carry load from here to Kano, in 3 days movement, you go do 1 month.
Sometimes we spend 1 week just to cross from here to Eleme Junction. I can see now this morning when I drive that I go to Ome to go and pick some gas. I saw some excavator there.
We were very, very happy when we saw them.
I am very happy from the way they started. They started this work at the right time.
All right, for Mr. Samuel Jojo and others who use this road, for him, he's a businessman. They quite appreciate the work going on here. The concern is that given the fact that River State is a part of the country where we have more of rainy season, they want the contractor to speed up work. I'm Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
The agricultural sector seem to be having some challenges with Port Harcourt there. We'll now move on. The Independent National Electoral Commission has reacted to a media report that INEC's credibility sinks as 94% of candidates that contested the election challenged the outcome of the exercise at the tribunal. Statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Sam Olumekon, says the report by the Guardian newspaper of Wednesday, 18th October 2023, contains inaccurate figures and mix-up of pre-election cases from a skewed comparative perspective. INEC wishes to restate that it is inappropriate to solely assess the credibility of INEC or the conduct of the 2023 general election on the number of petitions filed by litigants who, in any case, have a right to do so under the law. And now, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has announced plans to ensure that solid minerals take over from oil as major revenue earner for Nigeria. At the closing of the 8th edition of the Nigeria Mining Week, the minister says rejigging security in the solid minerals sector is top on the agenda. Ekene Ndulwe has details.
Nigeria is known to have abundance of precious minerals required to revolutionize industrialization in the country. Inadequate attention in the sector over the years has been the bane of harnessing full potentials of these minerals. For 3 days, investors and key players in the mining sector have been exchanging ideas on how to efficiently manage the huge deposits of mineral resources in Nigeria for economic growth.
We are going to ensure that going forward, all our environments are made safe, operating environments are made safe for the players in the industry.
Commitments have been made, and these key players at this conference are optimistic that resolutions reached will be adopted to provide solutions to identified challenges. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
And now, the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission says it is committed to hitch-free exercise and improving the welfare of Christian pilgrims. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, stated this at a Thanksgiving service in honor of the successful completion of the 2023 Easter pilgrimage. Omenka Amarachuku completes the report.
It was praises all the way to say a big thanks to God for the success of the 2023 Easter pilgrimage exercise to Israel and Jordan. They are here in appreciation and return glory to God for the protection of thousands of Christian pilgrims that took part in the Easter pilgrimage exercise.
But at this moment, with excitement, they traveled to Israel, and before then again, another thing came up. The war broke up in Israel. Well, some of them were there. Even those who have gone and returned were worried. Those of us at home were worried. Everybody elsewhere was worried. But the good news is that those who were there when the war broke up, they came back home, nothing happened with them. And that's the reason why we're here today to say we thank God.
As the tradition, the commission stood in the gap for the nation in prayers, unity, and national cohesion. In Abuja, Umenka Mrachuku, NTA News.
Preparations are in top gear for the success of the 2023 NTA FRCN and VON Service of 9 Lessons and Carol. Elizabeth Omori reports that this year's theme, Jesus, Our Hope, is drawn to align with the confidence Nigerians have in the nation and efforts by the government to ease economic burden. General Secretary, Christian Association of Nigeria, who reiterated the essence of the annual show, gave assurances for support.
How can Secretariat could be used as a platform to disseminate the information to the blogs under CAN and from there to the churches?
We are telling Nigerians to have hope in Jesus Christ, and that informs the theme for this year.
The 2023 edition is scheduled for 3rd of December this year. Now, the need for continued advocacy and a more concerted approach towards tackling stigmatization following breast cancer has been canvassed. Proper education and enlightenment programs are being suggested as critical efforts towards achieving this end. Sandra Akeme reports.
Breast cancer, according to research, is a cancer that forms in the cells of the breast and is a leading cause of mortality globally. To raise awareness on this disease, October every year is declared as the Pink Month to show concern about the disease, including early detection, signs and symptoms associated with it. Ms. Makosi Muzambasi, a survivor of breast cancer from Zimbabwe, shared her experience to serve as motivation for women who might be dying in silence.
I lost my hair, I lost my appetite, I lost my breast. But I thought I would share it because I know that cancer in Africa is still a stigma in some areas. People don't come up to talk about it, but then that's why cancer is killing people. It's not supposed to be.
Medical experts advise that one must maintain a healthy lifestyle and continuous checkups to save lives, and therefore called on the government to step up the game, as it is a health concern.
We need to do better. Collectively, the nation needs to stand up and do better, because the truth is that cancer here is largely out of pocket at this point in Nigeria, and it's difficult, it's devastating, and this is where early detection comes in.
I've lost someone very close to cancer, and we don't have enough awareness in Nigeria, and I am passionate and happy and supporting what she's doing.
A non-governmental organization, Sister Skipper Foundation, called on more awareness creation from both public and corporate bodies to help reduce stigmatization. In Abuja, Sandra Akeme, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. Benin is next. Angule, it's good to see you.
Vochukuka, the Edo State House of Assembly has passed a bill to enact the Edo State College of Health Science and Technology Law 2023. This followed the passage of the bill presented by the Committee on Health at the plenary. Obeyo Tobapsai reports.
The bill was considered at the Committee of the Whole, sequel to the presentation of the report by the House Committee on Health. The lawmakers passed all the sections of the bill without amendments. Also, a bill for a law to repeal the Edo State Fishery Edict 1991 passed second reading. The bill seeks to regulate fishery activities in Edo State. Also, some residents whose houses were demolished in Ulegun community have appealed to the 8th Assembly to mandate those responsible for the demolition of their houses to pay compensation.
We were never notified, we were never informed that there was any form of dispute in that parcel of land. We were never also invited or warned at any point in time that this place you are developing is not yours.
You can't just take one-sided, explanation. So you give us time, maybe like a week. We invite the said Frank Rabo. Let's also hear from him. Who is he? What is he on that plot of land?
The Speaker promised to look into their matter without bias. In Benin, Obeyo Tobapsai, NTA News.
The police command in Delta State has warned the residents against raising false alarm and mob action over the alleged genital disappearance of an 18-year-old boy, or face the full wrath of the law. Becky Greatman Chukuka reports.
The suspect said he was in a tricycle on Sunday, 8 October 2023, with a woman who begged him for money. When he alighted from the tricycle, he noticed his genital disappeared. He raised alarm and invited his two siblings, who joined an angry mob that came to his rescue to almost lynch the woman to death.
So as she calmed down, I started feeling somehow like I don't get myself again. My head started doing somehow, and I go and me do my across that. Mama, what do you do in my body? That anything that you have done, you should return it back.
I called my junior brother and I asked him to show his dick. When he shows me my organ, what I see that I cannot explain it.
For the police public relations officer, Bright Edafe, the suspect raised a false alarm because after thorough investigation by the police officers deployed to rescue the victim, it was discovered that his genital was intact.
Getting to the station, it was discovered that he lied because he saw for himself that nothing was happening to him. So the question is, why raise such a false rumor? Apart from raising that false rumor, where would Nigerians, our youth, and some elderly ones among them, pounce on a woman, taking laws into their hands, not just beating her, but stripping her naked?
He said the boy and his 2 siblings have been charged with attempted murder. The 68-year-old woman is currently receiving treatment in a private hospital at Asaba. Becky Greatman Chukwuka, NTA News.
That's it from Benin. Is back to Ogochukwuka in Abuja.
Thank you, Angoli. And we'll now move on now. For some time now, Nigeria has been grappling with certain learning crises that, to some extent, hinders some students from achieving their potential. Underinvestment in education, overcrowded classrooms, and shortage of qualified teachers are some of the identified issues that limit opportunities for children to read and write in their formative years. Olayinka Joe, in this report, examines bottlenecks that impede foundational literacy and numeracy in Nigeria and why scaling up is necessary.
Going by United Nations Children Education Fund, UNICEF statistics, 3 out of 4 children in basic education in Nigeria cannot read with meaning or solve simple mathematics problems. Failure to learn begins to alienate children from the curriculum and their peers. This contributes to the staggering number of school dropouts between the first and the last years of primary school.
First, the challenge is if they can read. Second, if they can understand what they're reading. And third, of course, is basic numeracy.
This will lead to worse health outcomes, greater youth unemployment, and deeper levels of poverty.
Look at those things that can work.
To address some of the challenges, these stakeholders in the education sector will, for the next 2 days, address topical issues on what works in foundational learning, its core components, scaling up, financing, the role of partnership, as well as what it means to teachers, students, and parents.
So if we are able to get children into pre-primary on time, we will see an improvement in the foundational literacy and numeracy levels.
When children are learning at school, attendance goes up and contributed to a reduction in early marriage.
For Nigeria, the Conference on the Learning Crisis provides opportunity to define its priority for the education sector in the new ministerial strategic plan in Nigeria.
It is our duty to provide them with not just education, but an education of quality and relevance, one that equips them to thrive in a rapidly evolving world.
With a structured pedagogy, continuous teacher professional development, and availability of books in local languages to improve performance in literacy and numeracy, increased budgetary allocation for the sector is key.
It's one thing to declare a state of emergency, and it's another thing to put all the resources and elements that will allow us to achieve that in place.
The conference is coming a month after the UN General Assembly met. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
We'll be joining just now for the latest report from that area, and Bill Kisu is standing by. Bill Kisu, it's over to you.
Welcome to Jos. In its continued efforts in promoting harmonious and peaceful coexistence amongst the diverse ethnic nationalities in Plateau State, the General Officer, 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, has inaugurated additional committee members to implement the recommendations.
Challenges evolve to threaten the survival and well-being of the children in Nigeria. The National Child Rights Implementation Committee is also doubling efforts to ensure their safety and well-being. A meeting was held in Abuja to this effect, and Momso Damian Dati was there for NTA News.
Players selected from diverse ministries, departments and agencies, civil society organizations and development partners registered their presence.
Child abuse, child neglect, child exploitation, child labor, out-of-school children are obviously on the increase, and it is something that is worrisome. We need to come together to ensure that our children in Nigeria enjoy their rights. One of the things we'll do today is take situational reports across sectors.
Today's meeting is crucial, looking at emerging trends that are detrimental to the development of children.
You know, a lot of children have been bullied through the internet,
And because they are vulnerable, they fall victim. And we want that if they don't look for funds from their parents for them to cover up, they may even commit suicide. So we decided that this will be part of the issue that
There are challenges, however.
There is no budget line funding.
The take home here is to effectively address issues affecting children, the organizers say. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
We now take another break for some messages. Please stay tuned. Stay tuned, and a report just reaching us indicates that President Bola Tinubu has reappointed Salihu Dembos, NTA DG, and 7 other heads of agencies under Ministry of Information and National Orientation. We now join Kano Live, where the Kano State government is sending 1,000 students abroad for postgraduate studies. Good afternoon.